everyone. Hi, welcome to the Queer Network. This is Queer Talk. My name is Justin,
And I'm Eddie.
and we're the co-creators of the Queer Network, and this is our weekly podcast. If you've never been here before, you're about to experience something you've never experienced before, and we're happy to share that with you. If you've been here before, then you've also been on the journey that we've been on for the last 16 episodes. Yes, that's right, 16 episodes. This is the 17th episode. I'm just so impressed by that number, even. It feels like we've done three, and now we're on 17. It's like it just keeps getting more and more fun and more exciting every time we have one together. And also now we have guests on, which is super fun. This week we have an amazing human who is one of Eddie's besties. His name is Jay, and he's a breathwork healer, energy worker. I know that sounds crazy woo-woo if you've never even heard of those things before, but I promise you by the end of this episode, you're going to understand a little more of what it is and how it actually could be something that you might benefit from. Or if anything, you're going to walk away from this episode just learning how to breathe a little differently and maybe be more aware of your breath and how that could inform knowing yourself, listening to the guidance of your heart or your gut, your intuition. Breath is a way into that, and Jay is a beautiful guide when it comes to that. And so we're very grateful that he was so generous to share all of that with us today, and in fact, with all of you that are listening today. So, anything you want to add, Eddie?
Yeah, we talked about a lot of things as we always do, and we brought in topics that we've talked about in previous episodes.
We love a full circle moment, is really what it comes down to.
Well, we're always full circling. Uh, um, but yeah, we and as we always do, there are many um lessons with the stuff that we talk about. Um we try and help,
Mhm.
with maybe challenges that people are having. We talk about universal things. We talked about things from self-worth and self-value to just doing it to what else did we talk about?
I mean, trauma and how you deal with that trauma, and the breath work that can assist you in dealing with letting go and not holding on to things, and allowing yourself to move through something if you don't get the closure that you think you deserve. Like,
And
yeah.
we talked about listening to your heart, listening to your gut, combination of all these things as we always do. We talked about going inside. We did a little meditation, and this was a very long intro, which is not supposed to watch, hopefully. And as Justin likes to say, we'll see you on the other side. So welcome, Jay, welcome back.
Yeah, welcome back.
Welcome
A
back to the
year,
Queer
two
Network.
years, 3 years later.
You should really go back, everyone, and see the episode we did because Jay did a breathwork healing on me, and
Hmm.
it was quite great. So we can put the link there, but we wanted to have you back because we've kind of we've created this new sort of reincarnation or reiteration, or not reiteration, whatever the word is, of the Queer Network.
Yeah.
And it's just simply, most of it now is just Justin and I just talking about whatever comes to us. We get on, half the time we have no idea, and then we just say, how are you? And then it's like blah.
And
And then
everything comes
you
out.
know
Yeah.
and it's usually, well, it's always something, because I always try and gear it towards a lesson or something meaningful or something that we can help people with.
Mhm.
So we have been asking almost every episode for
Yeah.
people to come on, like we
Even the
invite.
ones who just watch, like not necessarily friends of ours, like just anybody who's commented on the videos, like just email us if you want to come on and share some of your story or whatever. We're open. Like we're just like
I
it's
love that.
virtual now. You can be anywhere. Yeah.
But then when that wasn't happening, we had this epiphany, and we thought, well, why are we trying to get these people on that we don't? Why don't we have our friends on? Why don't we have
Yeah.
people that we know?
Yeah.
And so last week was our no, the one
two
before
weeks ago.
last. 2 weeks ago. Justin was in Australia for World Pride, and he was staying with a friend, and we had him on, and it turned out really well. And then thought, okay.
We were having these Monday chats regardless of recording them, but then we realized, oh, this could be something we could share as just the dynamic of our relationship, and how we as queer gay men, yes, we like to talk about RuPaul's Drag Race and sex, but we also love to talk about spiritual things, energy things, universal things, like things that are different because of our age, like how we see the world differently, or how we can help each other with those perspectives. And I think we have so little of that in our queer spaces. I think there's obvious reasons for that, but we feel strongly, just based on the fact that we were already having these conversations between the two of us, to share that, so that people that are also a part of our community, or just anybody who's watching on YouTube, because anybody can watch, will find it and go, oh, I care about that stuff too, and feel seen in that way. So we just thought it was natural to bring people on that also, like, so you're one of the people for him too.
You've opened your relationship up.
We have, Eddie, we've opened our relationship up.
And I'm just laughing because
I'm honored to be here.
I'm so glad you're the third right now.
So tell us, Jay, what you do.
Let me see. What do I do? I just share, I just try to help people with the shit that I have worked on myself, right? And that's all we can do. And I use breath. I mean, breath work. I use 3-part circular breath, which to me is the most transformational, mind-blowing breath work out there. And that's like my main tool to work with people. It's just using our breath to reach new levels, spiritual, physical, emotional wellness. Yeah. And this particular breath, which Eddie and I did in a session, is a 3-part. So we breathe in and out of the mouth. We breathe in the belly first, and then into the chest or the heart, and out. So it's like this figure 8 breath we do to music. People are lying down there. They have an eye mask on, and they just go on a journey. Right. And I never know what the hell the journey is going to be. I call it an exorcism sometimes, which might scare people, but it's like, well, where the fuck did that come from? Right? It's amazing.
You can swear on the Queer Network, just so
okay. You can beat me out if you need. I do swear a lot now.
People who we are talking to can relate to us more when we're actually real. Yes. When we're not using all these woo-woo words and fancy stuff,
Totally agree.
Yeah, I say gone are the days of the guru. This is like so ridiculous. We just need to be relatable and like deal with our shit and help people with that. And I use swears during sessions just because sometimes there's no other word that can release all that stuff, all that trauma, all that stuck energy. It's like, what else says it better than the F or shit or
honestly.
Whatever. Yeah.
Okay, so breath work. This is amazing, but let's keep going. What else? Like, how else does that circle you?
Well, it's very practical. That's why I like it. I have a very spiritual side, but it's always been practical. Like, how do I learn to live better in this life, right? How do I make more money? How do I get grounded? How do I find more happiness in this life? Yes, we're connecting to our spirits and guides, but for me, it's always about like helping people to live better in the physical world. And most of us, just especially, gay or trans or whatever, children, I was bullied, as we probably all were, and there's just a lot of trauma and a lot of stuck energy, and we can't really access it very easily. Talk therapy's nice, but it doesn't really get to the core, and I've found nothing else works like deep breathing to get to the energy of some of the stuck trauma and all the stories we carry. So it's pretty exciting, and it's really quick. Like, one session can literally change your life.
So what happens? Like, describe that. What happens in a session, and then all of a sudden someone can just like access something that they've been holding without even knowing, maybe for like decades?
Yeah. Well, what happens, it's different for everybody, and I never really know what's going to come up, but the main things that come up are a lot of emotion. Yeah. So usually crying, sobbing, a lot of release, rage, anger, opposite spectrums, but a lot of deep emotion. And then physical sensations in the body, which usually shows up as pulsating or pain or restriction or like a heaviness or a black energy. So those things show up. And I have people vocalize a lot. So whether it's screaming, yelling, swearing, fuck you, mom or dad is really common. Sorry. Let's just let it out. And there's something really transformative about being able to just express, have a little tantrum and release within that, less than an hour, really.
Totally.
So we never know what's going to show up, but it's always transformative. And
is there a common theme or challenge or something that comes up all the time that you deal with people? Like, what is it? Is it insecurity? Is it fear of something? Or they're like, what is there a kind of a main thing?
Yep. Self-worth, value. Yep. Makes me emotional talking about it, because that was my biggest and has been my biggest struggle too. So, as they say, we attract those people who have similar pain to us, right? Similar stories. But I see that a lot. I also do teacher training with breathwork. So I teach coaches, therapists, and other people to do breathwork. And I even see it with them, right? There's something around like, who am I to be a healer, right? That big word. Or who am I to help people in this way? And often it goes even deeper, just like value as people in the world. And that's the most common thread. Solar plexus.
So you said self-worth, and what was the second thing you said?
Self-worth and value, really feeling valuable in the world and with what we're doing, with who we are, with our voice, with our message, and really owning that. And then being able to, that with bringing in money with it, it's like the common thread. Everything's tied into self-worth, right? Don't feel worthy, therefore we're not able to make money doing what we love because we don't feel good enough. And it's kind of that cycle that's super common.
When you do this work and you offer this opportunity to release some of this pain, or I feel like, there's a very tangible thing that's coming out, which is the actual emotion after the session. Do you find that there's a lot of talking that needs to be done, or is that something that you're like, you refer them to a therapist after, or somebody that like would be able to be more that talk therapy rather than like this, which is very physical too, because of the breath that's actually happening? Or does it sort of not need to be done, and like it's done? It's been done.
Great question. Yeah, that's an awesome question. And it's kind of been done. I always suggest they go home and journal and reflect and really process what just happened. It can take days sometimes because it's so powerful. But I usually do coaching in the first half hour to hour, and then we go into breath work. So sometimes the sessions are 2 hours. We'll do a check-in at the end, but that's it. Sometimes I don't even think it's good to talk after, because there's so much. It's like, you don't want to get back into your head. Breathwork takes you from your head into your heart. We want to stay there. So the less we talk, actually, the better.
I love that, because I do think the mind has become a tool against humanity. And in fact, it is here to help us, but it's not here to run the show. The show is run by the heart.
So you say it's the heart, but I believe it's more your gut. I believe it's more your following your intuition and following your gut. Yes, it's the heart, but when the heart and the gut are connected, that's gold.
So to me,
sometimes your heart will tell you to do something, but then your gut is like, no. But so
I think there's a duality there, but I also, based on what I understand of even human design, which is sort of another layer of astrology, of personality, of all of that, it would make sense that there's some differentiation between, let's say, just you and I, that like for me, following my heart is like, that's what makes me feel like I'm following my truest self. And for you, like or maybe it's a combination for you, my sister, it's like her gut will always tell her, no matter what the next step should be, either not moving forward or moving forward. But like her heart, not so much for her. Whereas for her, it's like that instinct, that gut that you're talking about. And I think it's a combination for some. For me, it's I do listen to my instincts, but I also my heart is often what's pulling me towards my instinct, is how I feel. So I feel like that's maybe why for me that's what it is, and then for you,
Yeah, for
that,
me, it's what it's like your sister. I
yeah.
don't. I mean, I'm not as I find it challenging to go into my heart, but these days I'm just so all about the universe and trusting, and so that comes from your gut. Jay, what do you say to that? Because I mean, you're the person that, you're
Yeah,
the
I mean, I always say go from head to heart, because that's what happens even scientifically with all the endorphins and other things that are released with breath work. So it takes us, there's a time to obviously to be in our head, right? We got to pay our bills. We have to plan. There's a lot that goes on, but most of us are ruled up here, and that's craziness. So I think, I mean, I talk a lot about the chakras and the 7 main chakras, and I think there's a time and place to focus on all of them. But I just think heart is the other, you asked earlier, and there's another pattern, which is people give a lot but don't know how to receive. And so that's another part of the heart that I work with people on. Left side, feminine, learning to receive instead of just do and give. And so I'd say there's a time and a place for all the chakras. The inner knowing is probably, that rules. But it's different for everybody. Like I feel it at Eddie in my gut too, my solar plexus. But some people might be more up here with connecting and intuition with the vision. So I think it's different for everybody.
So as I always do in these talks, I try to get it to a place where we're helping people with something, right? So this to me just got a little bit confusing. So I'm listening to all of us like I'm a little bit, okay, so I don't
Yeah,
know.
because
Am I supposed to listen to my heart? Am I supposed to listen to my gut? Am I supposed to listen to my head?
So
So
yeah,
if someone asked you that question, like what would you say? Because do you guys agree? Like we've all said kind of like something different. So what do we say to people?
the first thing I would say, and it's what I do with everybody I work with, is I get into the physical body first. So where are you holding inflammation? Where are you holding pain? Where have you had recurring issues in your physical body? That's just a great clue. Our body talks to us and it's giving us messages. Yeah, we're just not listening. So, oh my God, I have this recurring shoulder issue, or my neck. Okay, so I'll go to the energy points or the chakras first, and just see what we can learn from that. What is it trying to tell us? Where is it blocked? Where is it maybe a little stuck with some emotion or energy? But I think once we deal with that and we can kind of clear some of that, I think that opens up the channels for the 5 clairs, which is, sense of smell, taste, vision, like how we receive messages. I think once we can clear away some of the clutter, we can get even more clear and trusting the intuition or how we receive. But it's peeling layers, I think.
Which is something that Eddie and I have talked a lot about on the podcast, even within the last couple episodes specifically. Like, how do you go inward? Like, what does it even mean to like listen to yourself? What are you listening to? I think even the way you're talking about energy, there's a layer here of like people don't even really believe in it. They're just like, if it's not a physical thing like a pill or something that they can like understand, they're like, what do you mean clear away the energy? Like what are you talking about? Like the senses, like that is, I think, where a lot of people still live. And so to even have this conversation, it's like, how do we now I don't want to dumb it down, but I also want to make it digestible in some way so that people aren't like, oh, we lost you. How do we, and yet at the same time, what you're describing is exactly the process of like, that's going to help somebody be able to go inward, just having a session with you.
But yeah, okay, so now you got to my point. I agree with what you're saying, because Jay, it for some people who have no idea about any of this stuff, some of the stuff you've said is like, okay, but I don't even know what that means. So for those people who at this point, are not coming to you to help them, and then we'll get to how people can go to you, and I know you do a session on Saturday mornings and for anyone. And we'll get to that at the end. But for those people who don't have the means or don't, are not able to go to someone like you, what do we say to them? And as it's kind of, you said it right, Justin, like, how do we dumb it down? And that sounds bad, not saying you're dumb out there, people, but
what could we offer them that's even something small they could do before they have a session with you, or if they don't have the means to have a session with you? Because you are definitely here to help people with their trauma. Like, it's very clear.
Yes. And by the way, breath work, this particular work, calls to certain people, and it's usually people who've tried everything and done everything and they're still feeling stuck. You know what I mean? So it's not necessarily for everybody, wherever they're at. It just depends. But I mean, I always recommend what I did when I started in Eddie. I mean, just taking some time to write in the morning, doing some morning pages, just journaling, free flow, whatever's on your mind. I'm fucking pissed today. I'm so tired. I can't do this. And whatever is on our mind, just getting it out on paper, and then reading something uplifting. It doesn't have to be spiritual. It's just something that's inspiring, maybe even a biography, just something to give you hope and bring some more lightness into your life. I mean, those are reading and writing are things that anyone can do to process. And the more you do it, the more I think we can tune in to what's going on. And I say energy, but to me, it's just very practical. And what I mean by energy is just again, pain, inflammation, stuck, stuff in our body. It's actually kind of very practical.
What about breath-wise?
Breath-wise?
Thing you can offer as a little way to start for people who literally, like, I mean, I know it seems obvious to all of us, but to just imagine yourself before you knew any of the things that we're talking about. Like, to say breath work is, even saying that to someone sounds too like, I breathe every day. Like, what are you talking about? But if there's a little impulse in them to like try something, what could they try that would like lead them down the path of, like, I mean, I have an obvious thing in my head, but you're the breath coach. I want to know what your impulse is to tell somebody who's curious.
Yeah, I probably would just recommend honestly, it's just becoming more aware of our breath even. So, meditation is even, I still find it hard. So we'll use the word meditation, but it's really just taking even 4 or 5 minutes to sit quietly, closing your eyes, and even doing box breathing, which is like, you can do it in and out of the nose, or in the nose and out the mouth. And what it is, it's like, let's breathe in for 4, hold for 4, let it out for 4, just some sort of simple breathing, becoming aware of your body and your breath, and doing your best to engage the diaphragm. That would be my first suggestion, is like blowing up the belly like a balloon and opening up and making space. And then box breathing is great because, again, it's just equal, whether it's 4, 6, or 8 count. Breathing in, holding, letting go, and just kind of tuning in that way is a really nice way to start.
So Justin, you wanted to try this?
I kind of do.
Let's do it. So, I mean, normally, both feet on the ground is a really good idea. Your hands normally on your legs or just relaxed. I like to close my eyes. And normally when we start, it's actually breathing in the nose is a really good idea. It's going to be up to you if you want to exhale through the mouth. And I just want you to kind of put emphasis on your belly and your solar plexus and your ribs and your hips, and see if you could, when we breathe in, expand it like a balloon. I'm going to just do 4 counts. So, all right. So we're going to breathe in through the nose for 4. Ready? Go. 1, 2, 3, 4. You want to hold for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and exhale for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can even just sit there for 4. And then when you're ready, you can breathe in again for 4. And hold for 4. and exhale for 4. We can try 6. Try one round of 6. So breathing in for 6, count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Holding for 6. And nice slow exhale on 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And even just tuning into your body and noticing what even that short breath did. Some people are going to feel anxiety and like, oh my God, feel nervous. Other people feel a little calming. You might notice sensations in your body. And you can increase it to 8. You can increase it higher if you have the capacity. That was very short, but you just bring yourself back.
As a meditation teacher, then what I would say is when you do that and you take that time to be still and to be quiet, to breathe, then and then you start to listen, and listen to maybe what that guidance is, what not necessarily what the answer is, but like maybe the direction you should take, or maybe whatever, because you can't do that if you're just constantly go, and you don't take that time to do exactly what you just said.
Well, thank you for that, Jay. That's a beautiful tool. It's so easy, and what it does is it brings you right to the place where, Eddie, as you just said, you would be able to listen to whatever comes up and go from there.
Not only the voices, but also listen to your body. What is your body telling you? What is your heart telling you? I mean, this is what we're talking about. What is your heart telling you? What is your gut telling you?
Mm-hmm.
And the challenge with that, because I mean, I've been doing this for years, is that, and then, okay, let me ask you, Jay, like you listen, and your body, your gut, your heart tells you something, but it's something that's like, well, like you just said, like this brings us back to what you said in the beginning about self-worth. Well, I can't do that. I'm not good enough for that. Or the fear, oh my God, like I can't do it. And then people just don't do it. People don't listen because of fear and self-worth. So where do you go with them with that?
That is true. I mean, this work can be intense and it can be scary and it can bring you to places you may not want to go. But in my opinion, what's the other option, right? What's the other choice? So what I do is we breathe right into it. We go right into the shit and the heaviness and the pain and whatever it is, because the only way out is through. So we're not going to breathe around that trauma we had when we were 4. And again, not to be too intense, and I call it trauma, but we all have it. It could be something little that happened. It's just stuck in our system. So we just breathe into it and we get through the density of it and the heaviness, because we know it's heavy because we feel it. It's like, oh, something's going on here. And then we get to the other side. So what I do is have people address it and move right through it. And I support them to do that.
Do you, I mean, that brings us to, we had an episode, I don't know, 2 or 3 episodes ago, Justin, where we called it Just Do It.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what this is. I mean, do you just, I mean, I think for me, that's the answer. Like, you just have to do it and deal with whatever comes from that. And I would assume that it's not as bad as what you think it's going to be. And once you do, it's like, oh my God, I did it. I can do it. And maybe when you do it, you don't really like it. It's okay, but at least I did it. At least I tried it. Right? Is that?
Yeah, I call it spiritual CrossFit. It's like going to the gym. I've been working out since I was 13, right? Just turned 54. Do you think I want to go at this point? Not really. I'd rather just sit home and eat cake, quite honestly, like if I'm really honest. But I fucking get up and I go, right? because partly because I'm vain, and also because I know I might live longer, right? So it's the same thing. The first 4 or 5 minutes of a breathwork session with me or anyone else is hard. I joke in class, I'm like, you paid, you're thinking in your mind right now, I paid money for this? What am I doing? I'm tired. It's Friday night. I don't want to be here. If you can get through that first 4 or 5 minutes, I promise you, your body will start to breathe itself. You'll begin to relax and sink in. And my absolute promise is you will feel so much better at the end, whatever that means for you. But yeah, it's not everybody has the motivation to move through their stuff. And I get it. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I have always been that person that's like, I know I deserve to feel good. I know I deserve to have a great life. And I'm willing to do almost anything to experience that. That's the people who come to me,
So how do people find you, Jay?
Yes. I'm mainly on Instagram. It's my social media site of choice. It's Breathe On It with Jay, Jay. And it's Breathe, BREATHE. Or you can go to my website. It has a lot of info there. And it even has a free download for people who do want to, like, hey, I want to try quick audio and just see how this feels. That's breatheonit.net.
Nice. We'll put that all in the description and on the page.
And what about your Saturday mornings? We'll talk about that a little bit.
Yes, I do the first Saturday now of every month.
Okay.
It's a live webinar, so you get to hide out in your pajamas, and it's a different theme every month that I come up with, and you can join live or you can get a 7-day replay with the recording. And I have a library of over 40 themes and classes that people can access as well on the website. Maybe you'll see something that resonates with you. Some of those themes have covered pretty much everything. So those are some of the ways to just jump in and try it for less money as well. It's like $24 for a Saturday class. That's a nice way to give it a shot and see how you feel.
Yeah. Awesome. So before we give you the last word, Jay, Justin, is there anything else you want to say or anything you want to ask, or just because so we can wrap this up?
Yeah. I think there's so many things that the three of us could dive into in terms of a conversation. There's a lot of anger and frustration and sadness and pain and suffering in our community internally, but then also because of the oppression of our community. I have experienced different levels of hate and attack on myself, on our community, because of the love and joy that we're spreading in the world. And it's interesting to receive that, but also not take it on all the time. Like what I wanted to, I don't want to talk about it. We don't have to get into the nitty gritty of it, but in a sense, I brought it up just because I know that this work, this breath work, even if you never take a class with Jay and you just start thinking about your breathing more, is a way that if you're someone at home that somehow happens to be watching this right now or listening to this right now, and it holds a lot of anger, maybe even towards like you're gay yourself and you're hating other gay people for them living their truth. It's hard to access those people is what I've really come to learn, and that I can't like go there all the time. So even for me, this is important work just to like keep myself where I want to be, living that happy life that I know I deserve. But then it's also, there's duality to that too, because I get very sad that people they're gay and they hate other gays. It's just like, can be depressing at times. But this then is also very uplifting to me to sit here as the three of us and dream and project this beautiful future that we know is possible.
And everything is a mirror, right? Like I do believe everything is a reflection in a mirror, and
and it's not about you. And for people out there, so many times it's their lesson. It's that other person's lesson. It's not yours. And you have to let it go. I mean, one of my things in life, my whole life, I try to do is let it go, let stuff go, let it flow, but man, that ain't easy.
It I don't remember the quote, but I saw it on Instagram the other day, and it was something about, if you've had conflict and unresolved stuff and lack of forgiveness, and you've still been able to move on, almost like having situations that you can't actually confront and clear and still be able to remain centered and grounded and loving. So this is, that was a recent example where I didn't get to really clear it, but I feel like I'm rising above it as best I can. And so it sounds like you've had similar things, Justin.
Yeah.
And you know what I've gotten from this recent lesson too is like the spiritual world. Of course, we teach love and forgiveness, right? But we don't want to be bypassing some truth here. And so I don't know. Yes, I guess if we were sitting on a mountain as gurus, we could just bypass, send love. But sometimes you got to say, fuck you. You're an asshole.
We wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
We were sitting on a mountain as little gurus, then this would never be an issue. And that's why some people choose that. Go live in a bush. But I chose to live in New York City.
Yes. Yeah.
And he's like, how the fuck are we going to edit this together now?
And I'm like, here I am. Breathwork makes you peaceful. And here I am swearing my ass off. But, sometimes it's expressing what is underneath and being truthful, right? And authentic. And that's beautiful.
We all, I think, well, not all of us, but I think most of us crave or want closure in a situation, whether it's a relationship or whether it's a work situation. And I'm talking to both of you here, because again, like you two are my best friends. So this is I'm going to get emotional because this means so much to me, that I get to have my two best friends on our show. And so obviously I know everything about your lives. And there are situations where we want closure, but we just we don't always get it. And you have to let it go. And we keep going back because we want the closure, because fuck, I need you to know this. And I need no, let it go, because it's not our stuff. We've learned what we need to learn from this. They have their stuff. So just let it go. I don't know where that came from, but I just got all.
It's important.
Important
because it's often something we forget, and we need to be reminded of it often, because I think we have this desire to to wrap it up, and be understood and be seen. And I need to know you get what I mean, when we just may not be on the same level to understand what each other is saying. And that may be why we are in this conflict to begin with. And learning to let go, and it's full circle to what you said before, Jay, take the high road to some degree. Like when they go low, we go high. Thank you, Michelle Obama. In a sense, that's just that. It's I can go high because I've already let go of what you said that could have been received hurtfully. And maybe a part of me did receive it hurtfully, but the other part of me was that's not even about me. That's about them.
It's about them. And this comes back to this, not to go on and on, but really it's the self-worth piece for me. I'm a people pleaser, right? Oh God, I want everyone to like me. Please like me. And so this was a scenario that really brought up some, wow, ooh, ouch. I guess not everybody likes me. And, and buying into their story about who I was versus knowing myself, it's also the self-worth, the confidence, the knowing you're okay as you are, imperfect or imperfectly perfect. So there's a lot of lessons, and I think that was mine, is taking my power back. Because as a bullied, most of us, right, bullied gay kids, we give so much away, and just got to reel it all in and just hold on to our own power.
We all just want to be liked, and when we're not, it's well, why? What did I do, or what did I whatever? But I always say, at the end of the day, we all have our own journey. And whatever happens is there's a lesson, and it could really destroy you, but then you have to okay, well, again, you have to let that go, because it may not be about you. So, and it's tough.
The four agreements, right?
There's something about that part that wasn't for you, it was for them. And in fact, in many cases, what we think we want, we when you get it, you're like, oh, I actually didn't really want to be a part of that. And so then you realize all the ways you were forcing this thing to happen. And then you'd get it and you're like, oh, it's not even really my vibe. And so it's like the universe is always trying to protect you, baby. It's always trying to guide you. And what's not happening is because it's not for you. And what's happening is for you. That's the lesson. So
Okay, so Jay, we're gonna give you the last word, and we've talked about a lot of things.
I do, I want to address, and I want to keep it really short, but there's one piece we didn't talk about, which really comes up a lot with my work in the gay community, and it's sex versus intimacy. And I don't want to go into a whole thing, but it comes to mind as a nice way of closing. It's just awareness, no judgment whatsoever. But there's sometimes a lack of connection, right? And we act out. We've been there through sex, and it's just learning again to listen, and that's where I say heart and sacral. I'm talking chakras again, but sex versus love, and somehow maybe just working at bonding and being aware. How can we bring both of those in together? That just comes to mind and comes up a lot in my work. But the thing I really want to say is just that change is possible. Change is possible. I really believe that. I know it feels hopeless a lot of the time, and I know that we want to give up, and that makes me super emotional, but I do believe change is possible. Just keep searching, keep saying yes. Breath work, I don't know, some other crazy form of healing, go on a retreat, read a book, just keep saying yes, and trust that change is possible. Like our goosebumps, that's my sign, full body goosebumps.
Whew,
That's
me
my
too.
sign. Yeah.
Isn't there a thing there when you were saying that, say yes to what lights you up and say no to what doesn't?
Yeah.
Love that.
Mm-hmm.
And while you just gave us a little teaser for the next time you come on, we're going to talk about sex and intimacy, because I think that is an amazing topic, and I have a lot to say about that.
So juicy. So juicy. I'm excited for that.
I think we all have a lot to say about that. So, all right, Justin, take us out.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for listening and joining us energetically today. And thank you, Jay, for being here with us. It's so beautiful to have you back on and share your light and energy and perspective. And I love and appreciate leaving this podcast in this moment with exactly that. Just say yes. That change and hope is possible. And it's something that you can choose to believe in. And I choose to believe in it. And hearing you say that encourages me to choose that every day. And so I encourage everyone out there to do the same and come on back next week, because we do this every week. And thank you for supporting us. And if you want to be on, we always say you just send us an email, queer@thequeernetwork.com. You could join us. You could be a part of our open relationship.
I was one of the first, though.
Yes, exactly. One of the OGs. And subscribe to the channel if you want the reminder to get more videos from us. And there's lots more to check out on the channel if you've never been here before. So lots of short films, documentaries, and there's always more that's coming. So love to you all. And
as we always say at the end, keep it queer.
Boom. Mic drop.
Bye, everyone.
I love you guys. Bye. Thanks, everyone.
Love you back.
Love you back.